Welcome to T channel viewers, especially the students and other people who appear for all types of competitive examinations. If you want to make yourself thorough and become successful, you are to follow certain learning methods. Let us see the learning methods presented in the form of a learning pyramid. There are 7 steps in the learning pyramid. The basic one you all know is teaching, which is the best method. The second one is practice. The third one is discussion. Fourth one is demonstration. Now these 4 methods are active forms of teaching. Now there are 3 passive methods of teaching. Audio-visual, then this reading, and finally you have the lecture. No doubt, lecturing is the most one of the effective methods of learning. But you know, when it comes to its average retention rate, it is only 5% as shown by experts after their observations in practice. Now, when you hear a lecture, you cannot keep up your whole attention on your, say, lecturer all the time. Unless the lecturer is highly talented, he cannot maintain eye-to-eye contact with every viewer or listener. Therefore, here in this lecturing method, the student is passively involved. There is no active participation of the student usually. The next one, that is, here your average retention rate in learning through hearing lectures is only 5%. Now the lecture becomes attractive or effective when the students come prepared to the class, when the students actively participate in it by putting questions, eliciting answers there. Otherwise, lecturing class will become not that attractive, but here the average retention rate is 5%. The next one is reading. Now, if you are a visual learner, by reading books on your own, your average retention rate of retention is 10%, slightly 10% more than your what is called that hearing a lecture. Now here your textbook reading will become effective only when you say focus your whole attention on topic wise, subtopic wise, and there some important points are there which you are to note with a sketch pencil, my dear friends. Then the third is audio-visual. Now here you are just say following certain videos, graphs, charts, and also PowerPoint presentations. But here your average retention rate is 20%. That is 10% more than your reading. The next one is audio-visual. Audio-visual. After audio-visual, you have what is called this demonstration. Demonstration is an active method of learning. Now, when you demonstrate a dissection or when you demonstrate an experiment with regard to working of an instrument, your active involvement is there. This method of learning becomes effective when the information becomes ambiguous or information is little bit, say, confusing, but its average retention rate is 30%. Next you have this discussion. Discussion is one of the best methods of learning. You all know, in a group discussion, which involves the participation, interaction of students, learning from each other, and through discussion with their, say, instructors, lecturers and teachers, students can learn a lot. Now here discussion always promotes or initiates what is called creative thinking, and it enhances the active participation and engagement of the student. Therefore, its average retention rate is 50%. So, always group discussions will provide more benefit than either hearing a lecture or following an audio-visual presentation or just reading a book by yourself or demonstration. Here, it is one of the best methods of learning. Now, discussion is nothing but a sort of cooperative learning, my dear students. Now, next it is practicing. Practice makes us perfect. This is a popular saying you all know. Practice makes us perfect. Now, practice becomes an effective method of learning because it moves short-term memory to long-term memory, and practice leads to more in-depth understanding of the subject and or the topic. Its average retention rate is 75%. So, practice, practice and become perfect. This must be your motto. The last one here is teaching. Now, teaching provides us 90% of average retention rate. Now, your key to mastering a particular subject or topic is to teach others. So, when you learn something, you should test yourself. When you would be able to test yourself, when you are able to explain what you have learnt, what you have absorbed to a group of people convincingly, effectively, then you prove to be successful. That is why most of the successful teachers can engage groups of students because they have been teaching, imparting instruction in the same topic n number of times. So, that way this practice makes teaching more and more perfect, Nana. Therefore, teaching is the best method of, say, what is called this learning. So, if you follow the learning pyramid, you can perfect yourself in your preparation before facing a competitive examination. Now, smart study. Nowadays, everybody wants to be as smart as possible in his hairstyle, in the apparel, in their conversation style, in their working, every aspect of life you want to be smart. Therefore, you try to be smart in your studies also. What are the methods of smart study? Now, my advice to the students is that they should not attempt to cram too many topics in a long or prolonged session. Instead, these short and regular sessions are preferable. Now, the next aspect in smart study is you should plan always when you want to study, what you want to study, how to study. These things must be planned. Then the third one is you should try to study in the stipulated time with mentally and emotionally prepared. Unless you are mentally and emotionally involved in your studies, you can never become perfect. Now, set a specific goal to be accomplished in each study session. That means you should plan that in this particular session, say for example, the topic human physiology is there. Am I to complete the whole process of digestion, its absorption, or anything to be left? This way, you should have a specific goal to be accomplished in each study session. Now, this is very important. Often we indulge in procrastination, that is indefinite postponement, intentional postponement of doing things. We always defer the doing things. Therefore, we involve ourselves in trouble. Why? Because you are to rush through the things in a short span of time, and rushing the things through a short span of time, say, leads you to errors. So that way you commit errors. You will not be able to retain what you have studied. You will be in a state of confusion. So let us put aside procrastination. Procrastination is number one enemy of studies. Do the difficult topic or exercise at first, because the fresh mind helps you to grasp it quickly. Always attack the difficult. Try to solve the difficult problem at the beginning of your study session, because a fresh mind always helps you to crack that knot or the difficult problem to be solved. Now, you are to make a review of your notes or synopsis on the topic before you start solving the assignment or exercise or practice test, to avoid committing errors, committing mistakes. So when you will be able to avoid doing mistakes, when you make review of your notes or synopsis or what is called that flow charts or memory capsules, just before you start solving the assignments or exercises. Now here, when you are in the study session, there should be no distraction of any kind. You should feel that you are like in the sanctum sanctorum. When you are before the God, nothing will distract you, yourself and the God before you. So, just as your whole mind is occupied by the image of the God, here also your whole mind is to be focused on the content before you. Nothing should be distracting you. So, you should focus your whole attention on the task to be accomplished. The ninth point here in the smart study is, now always you promote, say, a study of 2 or 3 groups of like-minded people, because you can exchange ideas with each other, you can interact with each other, and you can learn one from the other. So always 2 heads are better than 1. This popular saying is there. రెండు బుర్రలు ఒక బుర్ర కంటే ఎప్పుడు మేలు చేస్తాయి. అంటే 2 మైండ్స్ కలిస్తే ఒక మైండ్ ఆలోచించేదానికంటే ఎక్కువ ఆలోచనలు వస్తాయి, సమస్యలు తొందరగా మనం పరిష్కారం చేసుకుంటాము అని అర్థం. నౌ most of the students, you know, are the parents pressurize the student to sit tight in a room and read. But it is not the correct thing. Let the student give a break of 5 to 10 minutes after every hour of study session to refresh himself or herself. Just they will relax and the mind becomes refreshed. Let them take some, say, drinks or fruits or something to energize themselves. So that break of study session for about 5 to 10 minutes does all the world of good to the students. Now ultimately, you should not forget, say, taking care of yourself. That is, be good to yourself. You should avoid eating junk foods, especially when the exams are fast approaching or during the course of the exams. You should take light food with less oil, taking more gravy food items prepared at home. You should avoid taking soft drinks too many times also. Now, before going to bed, don't forget to take glucose or glucose with water, because brain say can use glucose as the source of energy. Other carbohydrates the brain cannot use. So when you give glucose as the basic fuel to the brain during night time, by the time you welcome the morning, you are say in the morning session, at the beginning of the session, you feel fresh and you do not undergo any stress or laxity or complacency. You will be very active to do the day things. Now, the task before us is most of the students who appear for NEET, AIIMS and JIPMER. Biology is a crucial subject, especially as far as NEET is concerned. How is it so? Biology accounts for 50% of the questions of the NEET. Of the 180 questions, 90 questions are from biology, that is both botany and zoology put together, from the biology books of NCERT, 11th and 12th class. And then you know, here each question carries 4 marks. That means biology alone accounts for 360, 90 into 4, 360 out of 320 marks. For most of these, say, categories, 300 if you score, that will be the qualifying mark. So scoring 300 plus in biology is very easy when compared to your performance in physics and chemistry. From an average student point of view, he can score, say, or she can score more than 300, even 330 plus, very easily, provided the student becomes thorough with every aspect of the content given in NCERT books, plus 2, volume 1, volume 2 biology books. They are your Bible, they are your Quran, they are your Bhagavad Gita. Now, look at the following table given to get an idea about the weightage of chapters in NEET. See here, let me tell you, I have taken the NEET 2017 MBBS BDS UG test conducted on 7th May 2017, and the breakup of questions unit wise and chapter wise test booklet code A is given. Now I have segregated the questions biology volume 1, volume 2. How many questions appeared from volume 1? This time volume 1 it is 48 questions. The percentage is 53. And volume 2, this is you got 43 questions and the percentage is 47. So there 53%, here volume 2 47%. Now let us see this breakup. Now in the volume 1 you have 5 units. In the volume 2 you have another 5 units. Now why most questions appeared, that is nearly 48, and if you take 50% breakup for each volume, it should be 45. So 3 questions more in the volume 1. That is because of the 2 important key chapters. One is plant physiology, the other one is human physiology. More questions were picked up from human physiology. That has been the trend in the previous AIPMT exams and also 2016 NEET exams. It is not only the trend in NEET, but it is also the trend in the case of AIIMS and JIPMER also. These 2 are, as far as volume 1, besides cell biology, cell cycle with cell division, they are also the key chapters in the volume 1 when compared to the other chapters. Now, the unit 1 means diversity of living world. Now, unit 2 is structural organization of plants and animals, where you have morphology, anatomy, histology. Unit 3 is cell, the unit of life, biomolecules, and the third one chapter is the cell cycle and cell division. Then unit 4. Unit 4 is plant physiology, where you have transport in plants, the photosynthesis, that basic chemical reaction necessary for the sustenance of life on the planet Earth, then respiration in plants, the process of providing energy, then growth and development. These are the chapters in plant physiology. Under growth and development, you have the phytohormones, etc. Now, coming to the animal physiology, you have several chapters are there. That is human physiology. You have digestion and absorption, breathing mechanism and gaseous exchange, body fluids and circulation. That is, you are to learn about blood, composition of blood, functions, lymph, its circulation, and then heart functioning, blood clotting, up to this fluids and blood circulation. Then excretion, excretory products and their elimination. Human kidneys, their functioning, broadly excretory organs also come under this chapter. The next one is locomotion and movement. Here you learn about muscle contraction and skeletal system briefly. Next, neural integration, that is the neural physiology. That is another important chapter. Now, the last chapter here is you are to learn about this one, chemical coordination and integration. That is endocrine glands, their secretions and functions. That is about human physiology. Now, let us see unit-wise, the chapter-wise questions that appeared in 2017. This is mainly aimed at giving the student an idea how far the NCERT textbooks are useful. Just now I told you they are like your Bible, your Quran, your Bhagavad Gita. As far as biology is concerned, you, especially students who do not aspire for a single digit rank, they can get even a double digit rank if they are thorough with this content given in NCERT textbooks. So you will get an admission in good medical college. Set aside all your doubts, because the commercial coaching centers have been dumping unnecessarily so much of excess information to say make the student confused. So my dear students, if you want to get a reasonably good rank, you concentrate yourself on the content given in the NCERT textbooks first. Then you have time, you can read something extra, or else you can satisfy yourself with NCERT books. Out of the 90 questions, you can answer easily 80 questions. You take it granted from me. This has been the trend in the previous exams also. Now, the first one is the living world. Living world, there was not a question there. Biological classification, 6 questions were given. I have just given the serial numbers of the questions and chapter-wise pages. That is not now possible to show all the things. Plant kingdom, just 2 questions were asked. Plant kingdom means right from you have this algae, fungi separate kingdom. Plant kingdom comes under this algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, angiosperms, and their broad classification only. Only 2 questions appeared. Then animal kingdom, right from porifera to the class Mammalia. you have animal kingdom, non-chordates, chordates. In that whole 4 questions were given. Now, in the unit 2, you have morphology of angiosperms. Morphology of angiosperms means root and its modifications, stem and its modifications, leaf and its modifications, types of inflorescence, special types of inflorescence. Then this taxonomy features of 3 families, that is Fabaceae, and then you have Solanaceae and Liliaceae. These are the only 3 families included at present, their floral formulas and other things. So, all these things come under morphology, on which you expect 4 questions. Then anatomy of angiosperms. Now, here meristems, tissue systems, and internal structure of primary dicot root, dicot stem, monocot root, monocot stem, secondary growth, and primary structure of dicot and monocot leaves. All these things, 3 questions appeared. Then structural organization of animals. Now, this is a very big chapter, but the questions may be 2 to 4. Here only 2. In some exam, 4 questions were given, because anatomy of earthworm is there, anatomy of cockroach is also there. From those 2, 1 are likely to be picked up. And then you have the tissues, wherein you have these levels of organization, symmetry, coelom, tissues, and also this anatomy. All these things are there. So, in the last exam, only 2 questions were given. At the most, you can expect 2 more here. So, this is another, say, chapter. Now, next you have the 3rd unit, which involves cell, the unit of life, from which 3 questions appeared, even 4 in Ames and Jipmer, even 4-5 questions were also asked from this cell, its structure and functions of various components, etc. Biomolecules. Here you have carbohydrates, proteins, lipids, enzymes. Some diagram based questions on nature of enzymatic actions were asked in the previous exams. Then cell cycle and cell division. Here cell division, especially a particular phase, a diagram based question may be asked. In the last, say 2017 exam, a question was asked on checkpoints of cell division, cell cycle, which was not dealt with in the NCERT textbook. That is one of the 3 questions that did not figure in the content given in the NCERT textbook. So, do not bother about things. This 3 or 4 questions may be there. You do not bother about those things. Then you have the plant physiology. Plant physiology, transport in plants, 2 questions, mineral nutrition, 1 question. 1 question will obviously be there, transport in plants with regard to osmosis, diffusion, active transport, ascent of sap, all these things, 1 or 2 questions may appear. A problem based questions may also be there. Now, photosynthesis, it is a very lengthy chapter. When compared to the, say, weightage of that chapter, the questions that have been asked are very less. Just 2 questions were asked. Respiration 1, plant growth and development, here only 1 was given, but actually there is scope for 2 or even more also, plant growth and development, because it has a lot of applications in the present day, say what is called this agriculture, horticulture, etc. Now, this is human physiology. This is the chapter on which 14 questions appeared, that is more than 15% in the, say, questions in NEET. Now, here you have, say, the 4 important chapters. One is 5 important chapters, digestion and absorption, 3 questions were asked. Then breathing and exchange of gases, 1 was asked. So, it may be this digestion, absorption and breathing and gaseous exchange together, you can expect 4 questions. Say 2 may be from each or 3 from one and 1 from the other. We cannot say predict the mind of the examiner, but expect 4 questions mentally prepared from these 2 chapters of human physiology. You have learned something about them right from your 7th class. So, a little bit expansion of these chapters, you need not worry. If you are thorough with the content given in the NCERT textbook, you are sure to answer those 4 questions. And next you have the, say, body fluids and circulation. Here 2 questions you expect. One from heart functioning, the other from blood and its composition or lymph. Then you have this, say, excretion, that is excretory products and elimination of excretory products. Here kidney structure and nephron, production of urine, regulation of production of urine. Regulation part is very important. You can get 1 question, structure and working of neuron, another question, or even the patterns of excretion. The excretory products, excretory organs in the lower groups of animals, right from platyhelminths, you can. So, this is another important chapter from where you can expect 2 questions. Then neural control and coordination. Here you have the structure of multipolar neuron, then brief structure and functions of different parts of human brain, and brief description of the types of nervous systems. Then you have the reflex action and the 2 receptors, mainly eye and ear, on which 1 question you can expect. Then other receptors were also given in the appendix, so you just make a review of that also. Here the diagram based questions you can expect based on the structure of neuron or conduction of nerve impulse, the gated channels, which channels remain open, which channels remain closed during what is called this polarized state, depolarized state, repolarization state. So, it's a hyperpolarization state. That way you can get a diagram based question, or the transmission through synapse. There you are to ask some labeling of some parts, A, B, C, like that. Then you have the chemical control and integration. This is nothing but endocrinology, endocrine glands, their secretions, functions and regular. Here 1 question was given in the last exam, it may be even more. So, neural control, coordination, chemical control and integration, these 2 chapters put together, you can expect say from 4 to 5 questions in your say NEET, and even more in JIPMER, and around 3 to 4 of the 30 questions that are to be picked up from the zoology part as far as AIMS is concerned. Now, the second volume, that is 12th class biology, from which say about last time you have 48 questions there and 6 questions more, and here some 42 questions appeared. Now, this is a very important chapter. Reproduction in organisms means here it is dealt with a common, as a common topic for both animals and plants. Brief description of asexual reproduction in plants, asexual reproduction in animals, and also this sexual reproduction, brief, that is reproduction in organisms, from which you can expect 1 or 2 questions. Sexual reproduction in plants. Now, this is a very big chapter wherein all aspects of sexual reproduction in plants, from which 5 questions were asked in the last exam. Then sexual reproduction in humans and reproductive health, these 2 put together 5 questions. So altogether in this reproduction in organisms, in this reproduction chapter from plants and human body, 10 questions appeared, that is 11%. It may be even more. If you take JIPMER and AIIMS into consideration, this is another, say, focusing chapter, another key chapter. Besides that, cell, then plant physiology and also human physiology, this is another key chapter wherein you have that questions. Now, heredity and variation. Nowadays, the attention of the examiners, besides human physiology, plant physiology, reproduction, is this particular chapter, heredity and variation, where you have this genetics and evolution, in which the first phase is heredity and variation. Here, Mendel's laws of inheritance, linkage, crossing over, sex determination, sex-linked inheritance, and Mendelian disorders, the chromosomal errors, etc. So, this is the first phase on which you can expect some 5 questions. Then molecular basis of inheritance, a very interesting chapter, modern chapter, where you have this DNA structure, then experiments conducted to prove DNA as genetic material, then you have this genetic code, RNAs, gene expression in prokaryotes, eukaryotes, and then HGP, Human Genome Project, and DNA fingerprinting. 8 questions were asked. So, 8 plus 5, 13 questions, and evolution another one. Evolution, you have evidences of evolution, especially adaptive radiation, convergent evolution, and then mechanism of evolution, where you have different types of natural selection, that is this stabilizing selection, disruptive selection, directional selection. Besides that, you have genetic drift, bottleneck effect, and then human evolution. So, these are the areas where you have to focus yourself. Origin of life, normal focus will be enough. So, this is the chapter, genetics and variation is the chapter from which you can expect bulk questions, nearly 16% questions you can expect. So, my dear students, you focus your attention and make yourself as thorough as possible with the content of these chapters in the NCERT books. Let me stress again on that. The next one, 8th unit, human health and disease. Here, 8th unit is human welfare, biology and human welfare. Here you have 3 chapters, human health and disease, strategies for enhancing food production, and microbes and human welfare. Now, human health and disease is a very big chapter on which you can expect 3 questions. Here, lot of memory techniques are required to remember those diseases, pathogens, and also the drugs, that is opioids, alkaloids, cannabinoids. Besides that, say tobacco addiction, drug addiction, and also adolescence. So, this is the chapter where you have cancer and AIDS also. You can expect 1 question from AIDS, because that is the disease of the present decade, and cancer also, which has been worrying mankind since immemorial times, for which now there is better treatment about cancer. So, that way you can expect 1 question from AIDS and cancer, and 1 from the general diseases, bacteria, viral and parasitic diseases, fungal diseases of human being, another from this drugs, addiction and adolescence. That is the breakup of this chapter. Strategies for enhancing food production, you have high yielding varieties, disease resistance is there. On these things, plant breeding, animal breeding are there. You can expect 2 questions. Microbes in human welfare. Here you have these names of bacteria, their useful products, their role in antibiotics, all these things you are to cram. Here again memory techniques are required. So, from this chapter 6 questions were asked, that is about 7%. Now, here you have the biotechnology, which has got 2 units, biotech principles and biotech applications. A very small chapter, modern chapter, you would expect 5 questions. So, at least minimum 4 you will get in the NEET of any time in future. Next, you have the last chapter. This is ecology, wherein you have organisms with fundamentals of ecology, interactions are there. On the interactions, repeatedly one question appears. Then you have the, say, food populations is there, population dynamics, that curves are there, that exponential growth, and then this logistic growth on which you expect questions. Then ecosystems, nutrient cycles, ecological succession, they are there, from which 2 questions were asked. So, in this first part of ecology, you expect 3 to 4 questions. Then biodiversity and conservation. The chapter is purely memory based chapter. 4 questions were asked in the last exam. So, you can expect at least 3, 2 if not 4. So, on this part of ecology, you can expect at least 5 to 6 questions. Then the last one is environmental issues, on which you would get 1 or 2 questions, because saving environment is the prime concern of modern man at present. So, save your surroundings, that will save you. Save the plant, that will save you. If you take care of the plants will take care of you. This is the slogan of every human being at present. Now, after making a review of the importance of these chapters, my dear students, you are to draw certain conclusions. That is, the chapters on which you should make yourself thorough under any circumstances. So, from the exam point of view, they are the key chapters. They are the chapters on which you must thorough yourself. You must focus your whole attention. As far as, say, botany part is concerned, here inflorescence, flower, taxonomy, floral formulae, economic importance of important examples in the families mentioned, that is Fabaceae, Solanaceae and also Liliaceae. Then sexual reproduction in flowering plants. This is another interesting chapter you have from the botany part. Next, Mendel's laws, linkage, crossing over, Mendelian disorders. This is first part of the genetics. Next it will come. Now, there are certain chapters of less importance. That means, actually we do not know which is important, which is unimportant. If we go by the pattern of the previous EAPMT and NEET exams, though the structural organization chapter is very bulk from plants as well as animals point of view, the number of questions that have been figuring is very less. Therefore, focus less attention. Animal diversity, lot is there, right from, say, this plant kingdom, right from the algae to the angiosperms classification, animal kingdom classification, right from porifera to mammalia, leave alone orders and other things at least. But though there is a lot of content, there is scope for the questions to be asked out of the content of the textbook, what you have learnt. In the last exam, a question was asked on horse. A question was asked on horse about its order. That was not there in the NCERT textbook. How many orders you expect the student to cram? That is practically impossible. So, don't bother about such questions here and there. ecology and organic. This is also a big chapter. Number of questions that have been appeared very less. Food chains and ecosystems, then environmental issues and vegetative morphology, that is root, stem, leaf modifications. Questions 1 or 2, nothing more than that. Next, still you have the important topics, that is you have molecular basis of inheritance and gene expression, which is very important. Last exam 8 questions were asked, microbes and human welfare, biotech 5 questions, and plant kingdom, plant physiology. Plant physiology 7 to 8 questions. Reproduction in organisms, just now you learnt. That is, reproduction in organisms means asexual reproduction and brief introduction of sexual reproduction. 1 or 2 questions, nothing else. Origin of life, 1 or none. Strategies for enhancement of food production. There is a lot to cram and memorize. Here also you may get 1 question. Now, still some more must become thorough topics. Cell, of course, human physiology, human reproduction and reproductive health. It is a very small chapter, but 2 questions appeared. Health and disease, animal interactions, populations, ecology, populations, ecological succession, nutrient cycles. Ecological succession, nutrient cycles, very short chapters, but you would expect 1 question. Biodiversity and conservation, at least 2 questions. Now, this is a pie diagram which tells you in brief about the importance of the 2 volumes of biology. First volume, 11th class, 53% of the questions appeared. That is, if you take number of questions, they are 48, percentage 53. Second year, 47%. And bulk of the questions appeared from this first year biology, more. That is the trend. Why? You have human physiology and plant physiology and cell biology. 3 key chapters are there here. Now look at this. This is the diagram that gives you an idea about the types of questions that are being asked in APMT and NEET exams, last 2 NEET exams repeatedly. So mostly 65% questions are level 1. Level 1 questions means questions based on one-word answers. That is, structural peculiarities, functions, or say common names, scientific names, etc. Very simple question, 65%. Then moderate questions, 20%. So together 85%. So if you are thorough with this 85% of questions, you can answer 85% of the questions, you are damn sure to get 550 plus in your NEET exam. Then lengthy questions and questions out of syllabus put together 15% only. So lengthy questions means statement questions. You have 4 statements given there, or column questions there, 1 or 2 columns applicable. That way, assertion and reason questions or statement questions, and questions that are out of the content of the NCERT textbook. All these things put together, just 15% only. Now, chapter-wise weightage questions you have. Unit-wise, there are 5 units in the first, say, volume, that is about the percentages given there. 13% in unit 1 and then 10% in unit 2, third only 7%, fourth 8%, again fifth unit means human physiology 15%. So here you have unit 1 13% and then unit 5 human physiology 15% and this 10, that is this unit 3 where you have cell cycle and biomolecules, cell division. So that is about 10%. This is about the weightage of chapters in volume 1. Next, you have the weightage of chapters with percentage. Now, this reproduction 11%, then followed by the genetics and variation, it is 15%, followed by biotechnology 7%, followed by this you have the what is called the fourth unit 5%, that is biotechnology, and last one here is ecology, environmental issues, that is 8%. You have the study plan. So, this is very important before you say take up the serious study of your NEET or other competitive exams preparation. You prepare monthly, weekly, day-wise study plans and assign chapters subject-wise to each week, day-wise, and make sure that you are thorough with the content and solve the relevant question banks, practice tests or exercises. Now, note the mistakes chapter-wise in a separate notebook subject-wise. Why? This is very much essential to avoid committing the same mistakes by practicing those say errors or mistakes in the previous exams so that you would not repeat the same mistakes. Then focus your entire attention on NCERT textbooks. I repeat once again, you are assured of 90% of answering those questions because most of them, about 90% of them have been picked up directly from NCERT textbooks. In the next step, you try to solve. Say, nowadays you have the NET and their quizzes are given, practice tests are there, exercises are there. You try to answer and find out your mistakes. That will improve your speed with accuracy. Next, focus on key chapters like plant physiology, human physiology, genetics and evolution. This is already given, Nana. Next, you have make yourself perfect with certain important diagrams. This is very important. Diagram based questions have been appeared repeatedly in AIPMT and NEET. So, this is very interesting. Then prepare a list of all examples with common names, their scientific names, few features of their importance, sometimes their orders, and cram until you recollect them spontaneously, because both in botany and zoology put together some 3 to 4 questions have been asked, like the say national river dolphin or Indian aquatic animal, that is common dolphin name was given, but the scientific name of the Indian river dolphin or Gangetic dolphin was not given, so that question appeared. Likewise, the list of animals, mammals were given. You are asked to pick up the aquatic mammals. By elimination, you can identify. So, that was not also given exactly in the textbook. So, if you are thorough with the scientific names of the common names in the NCERT textbooks, limit yourself to the names given in NCERT textbook only, then you will be successful in answering those questions also. Prepare acronyms, you are to prepare flow charts wherever required, synopsis chapter wise in pocket notebook for a quick revision and recapitulation. This is very important. So, read and practice more on chapters where you have been consistently committing mistakes, if necessary taking the help of a meritorious student or a lecturer who are thorough in that topic. Now, after the completion of preparation in all subjects, 20 days before the NEET date, take at least 10 grand tests in all the 4 subjects, that is grand tests of NEET model, then analyze yourself where you are committing mistakes and take remedial steps to become perfect. Dear students, this is how you are expected to update yourself, make yourself thorough to become successful by getting a good rank in your competitive examinations with reference to medicine, especially NEET, AIIMS and JIPMER. All the best. God bless you.